Should you move to a different state just to lower your retirement taxes? Welcome to Retirement Revealed. I'm your host, Jeremy Keil, and we're here to turn your retirement savings into retirement income. Today, we're talking about whether you should move to a different state just to lower your retirement taxes. We've got our producer, Patrice Sikora, on the line here too. And you just shared with me, somebody told you to do just that.
Actually, they did. It was my financial advisor years and years ago. He suggested when you start thinking about retirement, you might want to think of moving out of New Jersey. And I looked at him and said, I'll think about it, Mike, but don't hold your breath.
Yeah,
And I'm
and
still here.
it's funny that you mentioned that one because I was looking through at some examples. We're going to just talk through kind of more of a free-flowing conversation based on a few articles I've read lately, because that's a big topic. People are asking us,
Absolutely.
should I move to a different state to lower retirement taxes? And they have this feeling as if it's going to be a huge win, a huge windfall. And it seems to me a lot of times it's more of a headache. It's more of a
It's a
for not
disappointment.
as much of a difference
Yeah.
overall.
And I think a lot of people are disappointed unless, and you had mentioned too, Florida. I've had friends who moved to Florida. They stayed, but are they happy? I don't know. And other friends who moved to Delaware and came back again. It's not all it may be cracked up to be.
Yeah. So let's talk through here and we'll put resources and links to everything in there. The first article I was looking at is through Kiplinger, and they just straight out say, don't move to another state just to reduce your taxes. And they've got some ideas around there where taxes are a piece of your puzzle, but are they really that big of a deal? State taxes. And they give a great example of somebody that lives in New York, kind of a standard, maybe this is a standard New York income. It's about 170,000 is their example. That's maybe higher than the average American, but we'll go with that one because that's the example they gave. 170,000 of income. And when they came through it all, the actual taxes from the state of New York were only 2% of their overall income, right? It cost them maybe $3,500 of taxes. And you'd think New York State, that's a big tax deal. That's a big tax situation. It's kind of known for high taxes like California, maybe, right? As well. But
Connecticut.
here's only 2%. So I think the moral of the story is run it through your own financial advisor, your own financial situation to see if it actually does work out. Or are you just making decisions off of hearsay or just maybe your assumptions?
New York is a great example because it's not just New York State. You may live in New York City, and that's a whole nother ballgame. So where you live in the state may also impact the cost of living.
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's what some points of a few other articles is. You might just say, hey, I can save a few $1,000 on my income taxes, but now you're paying a few $1,000s more a year in gas costs or just other costs of living. And what's interesting with this New York example is it's similar to one that I see people in Wisconsin all the time, where they'll say, okay, I want to get out of Wisconsin because I want to lower my taxes. And I hear places like Tennessee and Florida have no income tax. Well, Social Security in Wisconsin and apparently in New York, right? That's what the article says. Social Security is tax-free in that state. A lot of people have a lot of Social Security in their retirement budget. And so your thoughts of what your taxable income might be in retirement might be different. That's why we use a software called Holistiplan, where we can plug in your income taxes and play make-believe, right? My 8-year-old daughter likes to play make-believe. Let's play make-believe about your taxes. Let's pretend, what if you are retired and you're on Social Security? What if you move to a different state? Because we can plug in and make comparisons between different states. It's worthwhile to make that actual comparison as opposed to just basing things off of the radio or basing things off of just one article on there.
Well, what states don't have an income tax, a personal income tax right now? Do you know?
Boy, I think I've got that on this one article right in front of me. Let's see if I can find this. Now, this article is maybe 2 years old, but it says that it's Washington, Nevada, Wyoming, Alaska, Texas, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Florida. But like they point out in the article, uh, that's just state income taxes. There
Right.
might be sales taxes. Your property taxes might be higher than normal. So you really just have to almost go line by line and make some decisions on there.
That's
An
a good
interesting,
point. The property taxes, especially, that's an excellent point because think of
yeah,
how
you got
much
to live
you're investing.
somewhere.
Yeah, and how much are you investing in your property to begin with, and then the taxes on top of that, plus the moving. I don't know. Keep going. Keep going. It's a good article.
Yeah, it all adds up. And here's an interesting one too, is just how your taxes on retirement income, just to go along the lines of Social Security. Here we are in Wisconsin, close to the Illinois border, and if you know anything about Wisconsin and Illinois, they kind of like to butt heads, especially when it comes to football. But I think politically, they like to butt heads when it comes to what's going on in the government and state tax rates. Well, Illinois, they have a flat tax of just shy of 5%, and their retirement income is state tax free. Right? You take money out of your 401k, you take money out of your IRA, take money out of your Social Security, your pensions. Those are all tax free. So you might be living in Illinois thinking they are taxing me to death, and when you hit retirement, a lot of your income might be tax free. So you might be surprised at how low your actual state taxes are. Just an encouragement to do that do that make believe. Let's
That's right.
let's go with the what if. Let's pretend because it's likely to happen. Let's look at how it's going to be when you are retired versus right now when you're not retired. Even how's it going to look when you're widowed, or if there's two of you in the couple. And so it's really interesting how it all plays out. I'm pulling up another article here, trying to find that one. But they talk about kind of the top 10 taxes, and there's a lot of different lists that are out there of the top 10 tax rates. This is from Kiplinger as well too. Now this one you had to pay the big bucks. I think you had to pay about 20 or 30 bucks to get the retirement planning issue for 2023. But hey, it seems worth it, right? You pay 20 or 30 bucks to
Yeah.
get some good data for the rest of your life on what you're going to do with your retirement. But they went through and they included the state and local taxes. They included the property taxes. They included estate and inheritance taxes, and they included state and income
Oh,
taxes. And so there's ones on there like Florida, which has no income tax. I don't see that in the top 10 of the friendliest states. They put it the most tax friendly states that are on there.
estate tax is something you do want to think about as well.
Right. Yeah. If
Yeah.
you're moving to a different state, it's because you have some level of income,
Yeah.
some level of assets where you've got kind of some extra choices. So you're right on. Those estate taxes are a big deal on there. Well, then they go across and say some of the least tax friendly, and it's interesting because I just talked here about Illinois, but that shows up as one of the least tax friendly states. I think mainly because of their property tax. They've got a property tax that seems to be a little bit higher than normal. Looks to me about 50% higher than Kansas, higher than Nebraska for sure. Kind of similar Midwestern states,
Where
but
is
they're
Wisconsin on that list? Is it on the good side or the bad side?
well. Here's Wisconsin, number 8 on the bad side. So I guess you
Oh,
can't blame people from Wisconsin wanting to change things around a bit
hmm.
because it happened to fall in uh, to the bottom 10
Why
as far as the I guess the worst. They call it the least tax friendly states.
does it
But it's
break
just
out? Why?
yeah, when they break it out, they say it's not so much the state income tax, not so much the sales tax, not so much the property tax. I think they've got kind of three in the middle, right? Some of these places have zero in one area, but kind of higher in others.
Okay,
And I
right.
think that Wisconsin, looking here, they fell enough kind of just above average in each area that kind of when you combine it all up, it comes to one of the least tax friendly states that are out there. But again, this is you combined, right? If you're somebody that gets 100% of your retirement income from Social Security,
Hmm.
Wisconsin's not going to do too much for you on the state income tax. If you're somebody that's renting your apartment and you just don't want to ever own your own home, really, what does your property tax matter in a way if you live in Wisconsin or Illinois,
Hmm.
one of these places? But it seems interesting. A lot of people seem to make kind of a drastic choice. Like, I just want to move out of here. And it's like the farther away you get, the less the tax people from your state can get you, I think, on there. And I'd encourage you to maybe just look at the easy moves up front. So one easy move to me is, if you live in New Jersey, look at Delaware, because you got New Jersey that's on the that's number one least tax friendly, and Delaware, which is next door, is number one most tax friendly. And you've got a personal thought on that. Maybe go ahead and share that, Patrice.
My sister-in-law and her husband, many years, well, I'd say about 12 years ago, bought a house in Delaware because friends had moved there and they figured they'd retire there. It was good tax base, everything you're talking about. It was on the water. They really liked it. So they bought the house. Well, we are now 12 years after that. They sold the house about 4 years ago. It was difficult selling it because they had not spent time down there to make friends. They had no friends.
Mhm.
Their kids didn't want to go to Delaware to see them. They're up here in New Jersey. And they finally said, why are we doing this? We don't have friends. We don't really get out and get down there, and the kids aren't coming. So they sold the house and they're staying in Jersey.
Yeah, and that's what they found out worked out better for them.
Yeah.
What I've seen a lot of times, I have not seen too many people kind of try it out, right? I go to Florida
Right.
roughly every year, but I also go the last week of March with spring break. It's 20 degrees in Wisconsin. It's 80 degrees in Florida. It's like the dream vacation, but that's exactly what it is. It's a 1 week vacation. It's completely different than living there and, maybe dealing with whatever traffic differences there might be, or whatever humidity and heat differences there might be in the summer. We've got clients that moved to Nevada, to Las Vegas. They're loving it. So I'm glad that they did. But at the same time, they were telling me something about 40 days in a row where the temperature did not drop below 100 for the high. It's not right
Yeah.
for everybody. So I like the idea. I encourage a lot of people, just go ahead and live there for a month, right? If you go on vacation in February for a week, that's completely different than if you go for the entire month of February. And then maybe try it out for a week in the summertime, especially if you're moving
Yeah.
south, right? It's worth the investment. It's worth the 2 or 3 thousand, 4 or 5 thousand, whatever it comes to go find a place. And you can do that pretty easily now. And VRBO,
Right.
Airbnb, there's
Right.
lots of places where you can go and rent a place for 1 month. If you make a mistake and you lived in a place for 3 grand for 1 month, that's an easy mistake to recover from, right? You go ahead and sell your house, and there's realtor commissions, and you buy your house and there's realtor commissions, and you might pay
Move.
3 grand just to move,
Mhm.
right? The moving trucks. I think it's worthwhile just to try it out first, to go with maybe a little bit of moderation is maybe the way to start out with it
And I
on there.
think you've got a good idea there. Go in February, say, and then you go in the summer as well. Because when you go in 1 month, that's not going to tell you what the rest of the year is like.
Yeah, you got it. Well, we've got these articles. We got the I tell you, Kiplinger's goes right out there and says, don't do it. I don't know if that's well,
Hmm.
they say don't do it just to reduce your taxes, right? That's exactly it. There's got to be other reasons, and you've got to consider it. And I just think when you make comparisons kind of before and after, what if I live in this state or that state? What if I live in what if I'm retired, not retired? You might be surprised at how small of a difference
Mhm.
the numbers might be. You might be surprised how big of a difference. I've got a client that makes a good income, and they wanted to move from the upper Midwest down to Arizona. So they got a place for the winter, and they were enjoying it. They said, we'll probably make it our permanent home in 5 years. We'll retire in 5 years and make it our permanent home. Well, I ran the taxes from the upper Midwest state to Arizona, and it was something like $50,000 of state income tax difference. I said, all right, I know you like your job, but can you do that remote? And it turned out that they were able to do it. And
Oh,
so
wow.
they worked it out with their employer. They are doing well enough that they said, hey, can we come out here remote and work from here for enough time that it's our permanent residence? And it worked out for them. So it's interesting how you've really got to just run the numbers. This is you might be surprised in one direction or not. Go ahead and try it out. I think we're preaching planning in moderation. I don't know if that's That's the most exciting tagline. But planning moderation, I think, is today's tagline on whether you should move to a different state to lower your retirement taxes.
But now, Jeremy, what would you do? Where, if you could move, if it were in your purview to do this, where would you want to go?
Well, that's an interesting thing. It's tough to say what would I do right now because I've got kids in school
Yeah.
and I don't want to move my kids out of their school and their friends. And so that's what I think. I suppose we haven't talked about this, where it seems like the answer to where you want to live when you hit retirement is wherever your grandkids are. I think
Oh
that's what I
yeah.
found.
Oh yeah.
If you could live close to your grandkids but far away from your own kids, I think that seems to be the answer. I don't know if that's
But wait a
possible
minute. Wait a
anyway.
minute. Yeah, the kids and the grandkids kind of go together,
They
don't
usually
they?
go together. It seems like that's the ideal scenario. I don't know how that could happen, but I think that's the way I'm looking at it. Some people do say, I talked to somebody last week and he lives in Minnesota. He said, I have 7 more winters. As soon as the kids get out of high school, I'm out of here. I don't care where I go. I'm out of here. I'm moving south. But that's kind of 2 parts for him. One is he wanted to make sure that his kids were in the same school system, and that's just where they
Right.
were. And it sounded like maybe he had moved around a lot, and having that stability was important to him. But he's saving up, and he'll have the opportunity and hopefully the means by then to move somewhere south, and then come back and visit the kids or grandkids later
7
on.
winters. That's a long time.
That's a long time for a countdown. So I think I'm taking my approach is I'll just see where my life in the world takes me. But if there's one thing I've observed about helping people retire, is a lot of the decisions around retirement and especially around where you live have to do with where are those grandkids. So I
Yes.
got some time before we get to the grandkids stage, but I've got a feeling wherever the grandkids are might be where I end up.
Well, I'll tell you, I've got grandkids in New Jersey, grandkids in Florida, and grandkids in Washington, D.C. And right now I'm staying in Jersey.
There you go. Well, and yeah, you can
But
just
I'm
kind
near an
of
airport. I'm
move
near an
south
airport.
depending on how late it is in the winter.
Oh, true. That's true. I didn't think of that. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
just
why you're a planner. That is why you're a planner.
that's it. You can do December in DC, and you can do February in Florida, and then kind of just make your way back up again.
I
Yep.
love it. I love it. Now I just have to tell them.
That's right. Yep. As long as they get an extra room for you. Awesome. Well, thanks for talking it through, and that's what we wanted to do today is just not give you an exact answer because I don't think there is an exact answer other than what we said: planning and moderation. Plan it out, try it out before you make these commitments to moving, and especially don't do it just for the taxes. You got to keep an eye on that. Thanks for Patrice for talking it through with us. You're a little bit closer to that time frame that I am, and it was helpful to have that perspective.
Well, now I've got my life planned out for me. You just did it. Summers in Jersey, although maybe that's not so great, and then DC in December, and down to Florida for the winter. I'll
There
talk
you
to you.
go.
We can
You're
do
all
this
set.
remotely too.
It was worth a 25-minute conversation. Awesome. Well, thank you, Patrice, and thank you for listening to the Retirement Revealed podcast. We believe if you know more about your money, you will feel better about your money, and you will make better money decisions.